You know that feeling when you're working on something and you just wish you had an undo button? Well, guess what? In math, you actually do, at least when it comes to functions. Today, we're going to dive into a super powerful concept called inverse functions, which are basically the ultimate undo button for your equations. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with a real-world problem to see why this even matters. Then we'll get into what an inverse function actually is. After that, we'll learn the ultimate test to see if you've really got one, how to find the formula yourself, and finally, we'll look at these awesome mirror image graphs they create. Let's jump in. All right, first up, let's talk about why undoing a function is a skill you'd actually want to have in the real world.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Meet Betty. She's an assistant for a big-time fashion designer, and she has a whole list of temperature forecasts for a trip to Milan. The problem, they're all in Celsius, but her boss only thinks in Fahrenheit. Betty has to convert every single one, and fast.
Now, Betty knows her algebra. She has the standard formula that tapes Fahrenheit and spits out Celsius. So she could plug in, say, 26 degrees for C, and then solve the whole equation for F, which comes out to about 79. But then she has to do it all over again for the next day and the next. You can see how this would get super tedious, right? It's just not efficient at all. So you've got to ask yourself, isn't there a better way, a more elegant solution? What if she had a formula that just worked in reverse? One where she could just pop in the Celsius and get Fahrenheit right out. And that elegant solution is exactly what an inverse function is. It's the mathematical undo button we were just looking for. So what is it, formally? Well, an inverse function basically just swaps the inputs and outputs of the original function. If you put A in and get B out, the inverse will take B and give you A right back. It's a complete role reversal. Now, there is one critical rule. The original function has to be one-to-one. All that means is that every output comes from one and only one unique input. This quote really says it all. The input becomes the output, and the output becomes the input. It's a perfect swap. If your function turns a 2 into a 4, you can bet that its inverse has to turn that 4 right back into a 2. It's that clean and simple. Okay, pause. We need to talk about something really important because this trips up so many people. You see that little -1 in the notation? That is not an exponent. I repeat, it is not an exponent. It doesn't mean you flip the function and put it in a fraction. That's a reciprocal, a totally different thing. This is just the special symbol we use for an inverse. So let's say someone hands you two functions and claims they're inverses. How do you check their work? How can you be 100% sure they really undo each other? Well, math has a foolproof test for this, and it's called function composition. Here's how it works. You take one function, say g of x, and you plug it inside of the other one, f of x. Then you simplify everything. If they're truly inverses, all the math will just cancel out, leaving you with x. But you're not done. You have to do it the other way too. You have to plug f of x into g of x. If that also simplifies down to just x, then congratulations, you've officially proven they're inverses. Okay, your turn. Time for a quick pop quiz. Take a look at these two functions. Do you think they're inverses? Try to run that composition test in your head. Go on. I'll give you a second. All right, let's see how you did. We'll plug f of x into g of x. So we take that whole x cubed minus 4 and stick it right inside the cube root. Now we've got the cube root of x cubed minus 4 plus 4. And hey, look at that. The minus 4 and the plus 4 cancel out. That just leaves us with the cube root of x cubed, which is x. So, yes, they are absolutely inverses. Nice work. So verifying is one thing, but what if you only have one function and you need to find its inverse completely from scratch? Well, don't worry, there's a simple algebraic recipe for that. It's a pretty straightforward three-step process. First, always check that the function is one-to-one. Second, replace f of x with y. It just makes the algebra look cleaner. Then your mission is to solve that equation for x. Get x all by itself. Finally, for the last step, you literally just swap the positions of x and y. The new equation you're left with, that's your inverse. Let's use this method right now to solve Betty's problem. We start with her original formula. To make the algebra a bit more standard, we'll just temporarily swap c for y and f for x. Now all we have to do is solve this thing for x. Okay, let's do it. To get rid of that 5/9, we'll multiply both sides by its reciprocal, 9/5. That gets rid of the fraction. Now we just have x minus 32. To get x totally alone, we add 32 to both sides. So x equals 9/5 y plus 32. And for the grand finale, we swap the variables back. Y becomes C again, and x becomes F. And just like that, we have it. Fahrenheit equals 9/5 Celsius plus 32. Betty's new, super efficient formula. Now, this input-output swap has a really interesting side effect on what we call the domain and range. Remember, the domain is just all the possible things you can put into a function, and the range is all the possible things that can come out. With inverses, they just swap. The domain of the original function becomes the range of its inverse, and the range of the original becomes the domain of the inverse. They literally trade jobs. Okay, enough with the algebra for a minute. Let's talk about what these things actually look like, because this is where it gets really, really cool. There's an incredibly beautiful and simple relationship between the graphs of a function and its inverse. Get this. If you draw the graph of a function and its inverse on the same page, one will be a perfect reflection of the other. It's like they're looking at each other in a mirror. And that mirror, it's the simple diagonal line y equals x. Let's take a classic example. Look at the graph of f of x equals x squared, just the right half of the parabola. Its inverse is the square root of x. And you can see it right there, can't you? They are perfect mirror images flipped right over that dotted line y equals x. It's such a neat visual trick that works every single time. Okay, let's boil all of this down to the key takeaways. Number 1, inverse functions undo each other. Simple as that. Number 2, to find one, you solve for the input variable and then swap your variables. Number 3, the domain and range trade places. And number 4, on a graph, they are perfect reflections across the line y equals x. And that brings us to our final thought. We just used this whole idea to reverse a simple temperature formula. But I want you to think bigger. How does this fundamental undoing principle apply to much more complex systems? Think about data encryption, where a secret message is scrambled using a function. How do you unscramble it? With its inverse function. This idea is everywhere, powering the hidden logic of our digital world.